would love for you to just take a couple minutes for folks who are curious about that, what that means and kind of why you do that and how you've brought this part of your life out into the light. Like, just tell us a little bit about all of it and how it's working for you and where people can kind of find some information.
Absolutely. So, as we move forward in cannabis legalization in various states, it's recreational in Washington and Oregon and Colorado now.
Mm-hmm.
It's medical in many more states, including California, where I live. And it's going to start to become a bigger part of people's lives. And the thing that I realized that no one's really talking about is what happens when you mix cannabis, which people use for a variety of reasons for chronic pain, anxiety, depression, to just wanting to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you mix that with sexuality?
Mm-hmm.
Because coming from a sexual violence prevention background, like I was a very staunch, no alcohol, no drugs, no substances whatsoever. Like you need to be clear, coherent, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I started to get more into using cannabis and noticing that, like, wow, my body does very different things when I've been using cannabis versus when I've been drinking alcohol.
Mm.
And my impairment in terms of like judgment
Mm-hmm.
is very different and much less when I'm using cannabis. And like, do I feel like I still have full control of my body and my senses and my ability to consent?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was, yeah, I really do. And so, I have a lot of nuance and a lot of qualifications before I'm just like, yes, definitely incorporate sex and cannabis into your life.
Mm-hmm.
I would always suggest to be with a partner who you already have had intercourse with previously, who you've negotiated with, who you're like in a safe container,
Mm-hmm.
and like see what happens when you imbibe a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
via edibles or whatnot, and see how that goes and then evaluate and then, maybe try a little bit more or, kind of gauge your reactions and do it and in a very experimental way. But
Mm-hmm.
what I found is that my orgasms are better.
Mm-hmm.
My body is more responsive.
Mm-hmm.
My anxiety is way less. And all those voices in my head that are telling me that I'm not good enough or too fat or too whatever, shut up
Ah,
when I'm high,
yeah.
which is really kind of nice. And I feel, especially when I'm with a partner who also enjoys cannabis,
Mm-hmm.
we can kind of enjoy that together. And like the partner that I'm going to hang out with this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
we'll take a hit. Like I'll take a hit and then I'll blow it into his mouth as he inhales, and then we'll start making out. And like
Mm-hmm.
we've found a way to incorporate it that feels really sexy and fun.
Yeah,
And I'm into it. And nobody is really talking about that
I
yet. And so
agree.
I want to be the one or one of the ones who is
Mm-hmm.
like, let's have conversations about this. Let's talk about it. Let's study it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's send out surveys and like see what people experience when they do it. Because the overwhelming responses that I've gotten from people is when they've had sex while high, it's been stellar.
Mm-hmm.